What's up guys, it's your boy August BTC back again with another video. Today I want to talk about something pretty interesting, another change happening in the account. Alright, I've just been doing changes left, right and center because I need to formulate a strategy that works. Okay, so what I want to talk about today, I want to talk about something very important that has been used in the traditional market when it comes to option selling and selling options. It's very well known and very well used. It's called the wheel strategy. But now I want to apply this to Bitcoin, and so I want to call it the Bitcoin wheel strategy. Okay, so before we get into it, guys, this is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy talking about his journey, how I'm going to bring this account through options trading and selling from $1,000 to $10,000 live on YouTube, documenting it clearly. I have nothing to hide, full transparency. Okay. All right, let's get into the portfolio, guys. Here's what we're looking at. Here's the account. We're a little bit down. Here's the equity curve, full transparency. The goal is to bring the account from $1,000 to $10,000. Right now we're sitting on $3,868. Right, the account went down a little bit. I was about $4,000 a few days, weeks back, but because I've done a lot of changes, Bitcoin also went down. The account kind of took a hit and stuff like that. But, we work in a system. We're transforming it into a system is going to be working shortly. All right, let's get into it. So the good thing is, the curve is a little bit smooth, right? There's no massive drawdowns. The only drawdown that we had here was at 3.84, and then I think we went to 3.7. I'm not too sure, but yeah, we keep in 3.8. We don't want to lose this number. So the goal is to get this account to 10,000 is going to happen, and I want to be fully transparent to show you guys the chart each and every day as we come here, record these videos. I want to show you how I ultimately get to $10,000 just by trading Bitcoin options. So this is where we're sitting at, guys. You remember how I showed you how I put $1,000 in the account, and now we're sitting on $3,868, and we're going to get to $10,000. It's only a matter of time. We just have to be patient. So what's happening in the account? Guys, I've done a few changes in the account. A few things have changed in the account, and I want you guys to be aware of it. Right, I know there's a lot of times that I've changed the account, but this time, this is it. This is the final boss. So I want to talk about a wheel strategy, okay? And I'm going to start the wheel strategy with this contract that I have here. Essentially, in a nutshell, the wheel strategy is basically where it happens when you own the shares. You own the asset that you believe in. Let's say you believe in Bitcoin like I do. You own the asset. You own about 0.05. Bitcoin is about $3,600. That's how much you own right now. Now, to do the wheel strategy, what you essentially do is that you sell puts against these shares at a lower strike price. So you say, okay, at 70K, this is the strike I choose. If Bitcoin goes below 70K, it's fine. I'm happy to be assigned. So if Bitcoin goes below 70K, you will basically be assigned to buy more shares of Bitcoin at 70K. But then what you do to complete the wheel strategy is you now sell calls at a higher strike price. Let's say you sell calls at 80K. When you sell calls at 80K, what happens is if Bitcoin goes to 80K and above your strike price, your shares gets called away. Basically, what happens is that you get the capital appreciation of Bitcoin going up, because remember now, your average price would be, around 70K, 71K. Because I entered this position, or I bought this position at 73K average price. But then if I sell puts and I get assigned, meaning I'll now have to buy, I'll be obligated to buy Bitcoin at, that strike price of 70K, which will lower my cost basis, right? Once that happens, I sell calls now against it, right, at a higher strike, let's say $80,000. Bitcoin goes above $80,000. What happens is my whole Bitcoin goes up in value, right? Remember, Bitcoin is going to move from 73 to 80K. So I'll get a capital appreciation, and my shares will get called away, meaning I'll receive cash now. So that is basically the wheel strategy, and it's really profitable. It really helped a lot of people to grow the account, right? In the traditional market, I want to bring the same thing in the crypto Bitcoin market. So what I have here is I do not have Bitcoin spot, right? The only collateral that I have in this account is USDC. If I go back here to the portfolio, you will see that I'm 100% USDC, right? I have a little bit of fraction, tiny bit of Bitcoin, but I'm 100% USDC. Why? Because it's pegged 1-to-1 to the dollar, and it's a stable coin. So when Bitcoin goes down drastically or whatever, the account stays relatively stable, right? So it's better than actually owning the shares or having spot, right? Especially when you're trading like this and when you want to bring the account up, you need a stable collateral. So what I did is I have a synthetic Bitcoin long position, perpetual contract that doesn't expire. I have 0.05. I bought it for $3,600, but with margin, meaning I didn't actually buy it for 3.6. I bought it with a little bit of margin, but because of portfolio margin, it shows 3.6. I'm a little bit down. That's perfectly fine. The goal is to dollar cost average. I want to own about 0.1 Bitcoin long on this account, right? So that I can participate in capital appreciation. So if Bitcoin goes to 100K, right, this PNL will be printing, and this will really help the account to grow really fast. So money is made in bear markets, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Money is made in the bear market. Okay, so I plan to DCA this position dollar cost average, meaning if Bitcoin goes lower, I'm going to be adding to this position slowly but surely until we get to 0.1 Bitcoin. That's the goal. The massive ultimate goal is to have one whole Bitcoin position. That would be crazy. You know, I really want to get there. I think once I get to $10,000, I can actually achieve that goal and have about one Bitcoin whole position. But we'll get there. Now let's look at the options. This is where the money is made. This is where we print, right? This is a side that I want to talk about. But let's collapse this so that I can explain things better. And things have changed here, and I want to explain it. So like I said, guys, I want to formulate the wheel strategy, but with Bitcoin options. So what's happening here? Before, as you guys know, I was very aggressive on Theta. I was getting about $37 to $40 in Theta every day, right? I was selling weekly short calls and short puts, which is very aggressive. So what happens is when you sell that, Bitcoin can either go up or down, right? And Bitcoin was going down mostly, and my short puts were in trouble because my size on the short puts was a little bit heavy. That's why my maintenance margin was, very close to 50%, and I didn't really like that. Now it's way better because the portfolio margin respects this whole strategy and prefers and likes the strategy. So it gives me the lot more breathing room here. So what am I saying here? So I've basically decided to sell long dated puts June 26, which is about a month out. Okay, if we go to June 26, it's about a month out here. So I've said, okay, 70K put June 26. I've said to myself, okay, by June 26, there's no ways, I don't think that Bitcoin is going to be below 70K in a month. Right, it can go down now in a week or two or whatever the case may be, but in a month's time it should be slightly higher than 70K at least. And I got paid about $1,470. I'm going to put all the figures next to the screen right here up here, right? But if you multiply this by the size, I got paid $147. That's how much premium I've received, okay, directly into the portfolio. I've done the same thing with 72K to say, okay, sorry, I did the same thing with 72K to say, okay, sold the put for Bitcoin, June 26, 72K. I got paid $195. If you multiply this whole amount by this, is going to give you $195. I'm up here a little bit, I'm down here a little bit. I'm getting paid $4, right? $8 in total for these two positions. So I'm basically selling long dated puts, right, where I really don't want to worry about Bitcoin on the downside because we're in the bear market, so Bitcoin will go down a little bit. Just I don't want to stress about that, right? The good thing about selling, long dated out of the money, because on the options chain, this is where it is right here, right? It's a little bit here. The price is a little bit close, but that's fine, right? There's a lot of room for Bitcoin to go up. So the good thing with this is gamma works very slowly again. So remember I said gamma is like putting your foot on the pedal, foot on the accelerator, right? The closer it is to expiry, it really brings, stresses out the portfolio. But the further out it is, it's okay. It's really good. So that's what I've done, and I've collected a total of about $300 and something in premium. So remember guys, I don't need to wait for these puts to expire. I don't need for June 26 to come for me to make money here. All I need is for Bitcoin to go up in value, and it can happen in a week or two. You know how volatile Bitcoin is. So Bitcoin can decide to move from 73K all the way to 80K in a week. You can definitely do that. And as soon as that happens, I'll be in tremendous profit, and I can close the positions early and collect, 80%, 70% of this premium. That's my goal. Now, what I've decided to do is to complete the wheel strategy. I've decided to sell calls, but short dated weekly calls against it. So what do I mean by that? I've sold calls for June 12th, 77K strike, 78 and 79. If you go to June 12th, go to the options chain right here, you will see these calls around here. Okay, again, Bitcoin tends to go more down than up, especially in the bear market. So even if Bitcoin pumps and rallies, there's still a high chance that it's going to go back down, right? So that's why I'm being a little bit more aggressive on the weekly calls, and I'm bringing in money. So I brought in, $54 here. If you multiply this whole amount times this, I brought in $36 and I brought in $26. So the total, I'll put the total up on the screen. So I stand to make about, I think, 400, 500 something, right? But I don't have to wait to make this amount of money, right? The goal is to leave this position all the way till June 26 and to consistently repeat this weekly short call. So every single week, I'll repeatedly sell short calls to bring in more money. So by June 12th, if the price stays the way it is, I'll be claiming this entire amount is about $117. I'll be claiming it, and then I'll repeat it again. So for the whole month of June, basically, I'll be printing money on the short calls. So I'll be selling weekly short calls against this short put, right? That's the goal. And I can stand to make about $1,000 or so in the whole month, which is very good for this account size. It really helps the account grow. And on top of that, right, if Bitcoin decides to rally and move from 73,000 to, I don't know, 80,000 at the end of the month, I don't know where it's going to be at the end of the month, I also gain the capital appreciation here, and the account grows in value. So this is basically the Bitcoin wheel strategy and how it can help the account get from $1,000, where it's currently on $4,000 or 3.8 to $10,000. All I have to do is just repeat this process, and I'm still getting paid a total of about $22 in Theta per day. So this is basically the strategy and how it works, guys. All right. And remember, in the last video, I had short calls for June 5th. But I've closed all these positions in profit. So now I'm just repeating the cycle for June 12th, right? Here it is, guys, full transparency. If I go to the account and I go to USDC, because I was doing USDC instead of BTC, let's look at June 5th. Where's June 5th? Let's see. June 5th, but on the call side, right? June 5th. There we go. Right, so here's one. I sold one here June 1st. So I bought it back for a profit, right? I closed the position, I bought it back for a profit. 81K, 79K, and then there should be another one at 80K here. These three positions, right? So I closed it for June 5th, and I'm just repeating the cycle now for June 12th. Right, and once these ones are going to be in profit, I'm going to repeat the cycle again for June 19th, and then repeat it again until we get to the end of the month. This is basically the strategy that I want to use for this Bitcoin wheel strategy. I keep the long dated short puts where these positions don't get stressed out too much even though Bitcoin goes down. If Bitcoin goes down, I win here on the short calls and I ring the cash register and I print money on this side. If Bitcoin goes up, I win here and I print money on this side. If Bitcoin also goes up, I win here and print money on the perpetual long contract. So this is basically the wheel strategy and how you print money on all sides. Basically, all you just have to do is a little bit of management, right? And that is what I wanted to talk about today, guys. I hope you like the content. I'll keep you guys posted, full transparency. Again, this is not financial advice, guys, but feel free to drop a like, comment, share the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.